evening and welcome to beautiful Sables. It's a beautiful summer evening and we're seeing Charlie Dalin here in darkness Monday morning. He's more hundreds ahead of second place Boris Hermes to win the second edition of the new meeting Sunday morning. He's an immaculate race. He's been making over 22, 23 knots, accelerated into the finish. And it will be an emotional win for Dalin, who of course missed out on last autumn's critical transatlantic races due to issue. He only returned to solo racing with the Transat CIC. The outward race. Only he and Boris Herman have led the race since it started back on Wednesday, the 29th of May. Sables has dropped off slightly as he approaches the Les Sables d'Olonne. And of course, this will be the third time that Charlie has crossed the finish line first. Winner of the Vendée Arctic race in 2022. And also crossed the finish in 21, first across, but losing out. Panic best have the overall victory because of a time record in the chemistry. So relatively sedate speeds coming in here, as I say, was doing 23, 24 knots over the course of this final afternoon of this race. MACIF Santé Prévoyance, this design boat which was launched in last year. Much more of an all-rounder as considered to be by many of his contemporaries. More of an all-rounder than the Sam Manward boats under the Fino Conch Antoine Koch designs. And some say that was or has been the key to him getting away through the low pressure trough back on that critical between last Sunday and last Monday. This little low pressure trough was moving eastwards at round about the same speed as the fleet, and Boris and Charlie were most to the north, and both of them broke through, and really big breakaway, big escape for them. Boris, for those of you who've been watching the race, went up to the far north. Charlie very much stuck to the middle ground, and just sailed a confident middle ground course. Sailing the percentages, never really troubled. At one point it looked like Boris would be a threat, but of course Boris unfortunately got stuck in the north of the high pressure area. It was about 36 hours, slowed right down all the time. Charlie moving towards the finish line. So Boris is expected second tomorrow afternoon. ETA around about 1400 hours or thereabouts local time here in Les Sables. So Charlie was fourth on that outward race. Had a technical problem just at a key moment really in the one low pressure system. He and Johan Richomme were negotiating the north, just north of the centre, and Charlie had some problems, technical problem with his rudder, had to slow down, and Johan escaped there and went on to win that race. So meantime, the battle for the podium is continuing down to the south, where the race winner for 2016, Jeremy Bayou, is leading that little group.
Comité ligne d'arrivée. Comité ligne d'arrivée
And Bayou is wrecked 19 days. Now.
Super, je suis dans l'approche de l'île. Je me situe à un petit peu plus que 2000. 2,2 000 ETA, une dizaine de minutes. Merci beaucoup, à tout de suite. En avant.
Marcus, leader sécurité, tu peux éteindre ton gyrophare s'il te plaît. Tu éteins ton gyrophare, Marcus, merci. Ouais, leader sécu du SR700 pour contact. Ouais, pour vous informer qu'on est arrivé sur site là avec 6 batchs en dehors, 6 élus. C'est bien reçu. CQ1 de Sant'Elena. Paris. C'est demande pour s'approcher un peu du bateau si possible. Vous êtes à quel niveau par rapport au Imoca? À son nord, là, un peu à l'arrière bâbord. Ok, bien pris, avancez, mais attention au train de vague, hein, des vedettes, il y a pas mal de houle. Je passe pas devant, mais il y a les 2 vedettes presque qui sont devant moi, là, je reste à leur côté.
On reste sur lui, David. Pardon.
Q2, il y a une distance sécurité, distance de sécurité, merci. G2, le CQ3.
And the first images then of Charlie coming in towards the finish line.
Q13, leader sécu à toi. Ouais, la ligne est claire.
So he's been a clear leader
La ligne est claire, tu confirmes.
since Boris went north. And this really pushed him as the clear favourite, or one of the clear favourites for the Vendée Globe, the 10th edition of the Vendée Globe, which starts here on the 10th of November. They spent the winter still optimising this boat with new foils. Continued all the way through the winter as Charlie got the go ahead. Really, that was a tough time for and then of course missed the Retour à la Basse, the key solo race back from Martinique, back to Lorient. So getting close to the finish line, this famous Noosh Sud finish line, which is the line for the Vendée Globe. And then, unfortunately, the tidal situation here is that you'll only come in after 4 o'clock in the morning. So the plan is that Charlie will come into the channel tomorrow at 9 o'clock Sunday morning. And I'm sure he'll be afforded a big warm welcome into the historic, the famous channel of Les Sables d'Olonne. Of course, came in from the finish of the Vendée Arctic. Celebration time, if you want to call it that, on an anchorage in a little fjord in Iceland, waiting for a storm to pass through, within sight of Tomarion, who had finished second. So Charlie is one of the most regular finish on the podium. Consistent as he was in his days in the Figaro class. Never quite won La Solitaire, but was on the podium 5 times, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 and 2018. 3 third places and 2 seconds, all with say on the podium, but never quite managed to win it. The big gust hits him as he comes in. We're starting to see the marks and the lights off Les Sables d'Olonne. And he's seeing his team rib alongside. But of course, a couple of days ago, he met up with Francois Gavard on board a cruising catamaran delivery in the Caribbean, and
Arrivée de Massif.
So here we see the finish of Charlie Dalin then approaching the finish line. The lights of
Stop pour
the Sables
l'arrivée de
alone
Massif
twinkling in the
à
background.
11h44 minutes 30 secondes. Je répète, arrivée de
So it
Massif,
goes across the
Charlie
line
Dalin,
at
11h44 minutes 30
11:44
secondes.
local time here.
À toutes les unités, Massif à bas.
11:44 and 30 seconds. Charlie Dalin wins the York Vendée. His first ever solo transatlantic win. First to finish the Vendée Globe in 2021. First in the Vendée Arctic in 2022. But this is a real triumph for the sailor who grew up in Le Havre, surrounded every second year by the big boats and the skippers of the Transat Jacques Vabre. So a big win for Charlie, particularly, as I say, after, I'm sure, some very tough times for him last autumn and last winter. Once again, as he did on the Vendée Globe, he's really modulated this race beautifully. Although he did set out from New York, saying in Brooklyn just before the start that this was one he wanted to win and he'd be pushing hard. Ironically, on the outward Transat CIC race, he had said that that was a race that he really had to finish to ensure his qualification for the Vendée Globe, and he did that, and now he has won the New York Vendée. His race team join him, the team from Merconcept, which manage the MACIF sailing program. Big hugs. An important triumph for Charlie and for the team, which is owned and run by François Gabard, the Vendée Globe winner. Charlie's been with the MACIF sailing program since 2014. In Le Solitaire, joined us, or was selected for the Skipper MACIF program way back then. So more than 10 years with the MACIF, this French insurance giant.
Reste la light sur eux. La lumière sur eux.
To say, unfortunately, can't come into the channel tonight. Quite a common situation, even for the skippers finishing the Vendée Globe. But I'm sure that will be no particular upset, no source of stress for Charlie. He's through the finish line, and he will be afforded a warm welcome. Beautiful summer's morning expected. Sunshine. Light breezes, and we're sure that the Les Sables d'Olonne locals will turn out in their hundreds to welcome this very popular French ocean racer. I would say this really sets him up for the Vendée Globe. This is the last big ocean race, the last big Imoca race before the Vendée Globe. And really, you'd imagine that the two outstanding favourites now would be his long-time rival, Johan Richomme, who has not had such a good race this time. I think he's in 7th at the moment, but who won the Rotuna La Basse back last autumn, his first ever solo Imoca race, and then won the outward race, the Transat CIC, which he won by 2 hours and 9 minutes ahead of Boris Herrmann. So also massive credit to Boris, who's looking at 2 second places, uber consistent, and he will be in tomorrow. So not sure whether Charlie is going to stay on board tonight or whether he'll come into Les Sables d'Olonne, but for sure our media team will go on board shortly, get first few words from Charlie. So Charlie, of course, as I said, Southampton trained. Is at Southampton University, has a Masters of Engineering in yacht design and small boat design, and was very well known and accomplished on the Solent scene when he was at uni in the 2005-2006. I think he won the Commodore's Cup. He used to be in the Bear of Britain training program. Moved into the mini class. When you look at Charlie's CV, it's really the breadth and depth of his experience that is really impressive. Raced to Sydney, Hobart, Tour de France, all kinds of things. There he is, raising his hands, saluting the spectator craft and the support craft that are going out to meet him this just before midnight local time here. So say he will come into the channel tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and will come into the famous Vendée Globe pontoon in the middle of the Portolona. I say not sure. So there we go. Charlie Dalin wins in 10 days, 3 hours, 44 minutes and 30 seconds. Just outside the record of 2016. It was of course, they say 9 days and 16 hours. No race since then, of course. That was the reason that the race was the Vendée Arctic race was run, because the Transat CIC and the New York Vendée were cancelled in that year. It's interesting to reflect that that 2016 race, Charlie wasn't even in the Imocas by then. They certainly earned his respect, or they earned the respect of all of his rivals, his fellow skippers, all impressed, amazed even at how he and Boris got away. Just that breakaway on that low pressure trough, as Jeremy Bayou noted at the time, or a couple of days afterwards, saying that 1 minute it was 5 miles, and the next minute or the next few days it was felt more like 500. But we'll see Boris Herman tomorrow. He, as we all watched, went way up to the north and really suffered, I think suffered mentally, in the sense that he had a long period with no wind, and the wind was always forecast to come in. He was always expecting this fast descent, which he has had, but I think it's pretty troublesome, even though he seemed to enjoy the experience of going way up to the high latitudes or the higher latitudes. But it was very, very light for a long period. So Charlie will have a well-earned rest after this race. I think the key things now are making decisions about sales and the small details, final optimizations going into the Vendée refit. Same for most of the skippers. We spoke with Johan Richomme in the early part of the race, and he was saying that, in fact, he was just saying just before the break, he was saying how he was checking and experimenting and trying slightly different things. He was a little bit more south of the pack at that point, and unfortunately just missed the break. But it's been a very, very tough race psychologically and physically. Charlie said a few days ago, as did many others, that it seemed like Europe and North America were reversed, because the Transat CIC should have been an upwind race, which was largely reaching and downwind, and this has been largely, well, certainly for coming back, it's been largely upwind on this 3,100 mile race back from New York. The other new thing, both with the finishes and the starts, particularly the starts, I think, was having the start line 90 miles offshore, a kind of virtual start line. That was to protect the sea life at the entrance to the Hudson River and offshore there. So that was something new. I think it was a particular test for some sailors who found themselves quite tired going off the start line after it's a full, or pretty much a full day's operation to get out from New York out to the start line. And then the breezes, for a combination of reasons, the breezes were really problematic. The combination of the Gulf Stream, these little low pressure and high pressure system. And really over the first 2 or 3 days, the skippers really were struggling with the variable winds, very random and unpredictable. Not at all what the weather models were saying. You had this situation where the Gulf Stream, the warm air of the Gulf Stream was really interrupting the normal flow, particularly with this valve egg, this low pressure trough. So Charlie's team just sorting out the boat. It's really just a development of his previous boat. Nothing radically different. It's the next step on, if you like. And we're speaking with some of the skippers at the back end of last year, talking about the designs, and they were saying that that's very much the Vendée trademark, if you like, just to move iteration by iteration. And of course, to say Charlie involved with all of the design elements of his boats as a naval architect. Indeed, he's been working I think since 2008, 2009. He was design manager for various big boats and projects. So his hands-on experience as well. Been fully involved with the design steps and build of both of his Imocas. Of course, he was one of the early leaders of the Transat CIC. In fact, he set the pace in the early stages when he'd left Lorient, saying that he would be focusing on finishing to earn his Vendée qualification. One of the qualification criteria for new boats is they have to start a transatlantic race in 2024. So that was Charlie's qualification. That was also the same reason, of course, that he actually started the Transat Jacques Vabre to fulfill the qualification criteria. He only started across the line with Pascal Bidegori and then returned straight away to Le Havre. It's very, very similar in terms of background and outlook to Johan Richon. So both naval architects, designers, extremely digital and driven by numbers. Charlie was saying even just a couple of days ago that he was, even though he'd got a big lead, he was racing his polars, trying to improve all the time, and that was the only way he knows how to sail, I think. So there you go, just a quick reminder, 10 days, 3 hours, 44 minutes, 30 seconds. Charlie took a little bit of a break in between the two transatlantic races, as most of the skippers did. I know that he went down to Antigua, a little charter holiday with his family, did lots of wing foiling and making sure that he recovered. So this boat only launched last year, went straight out and won the Rolex Fastnet race with Pascal Bidagori.
Reste bien sur l'arrière.
So 2022, he was second in the Route du Rhum. And the previous year, second in the TGV behind Paul Meillat, or with Paul Meillat, sorry. We're just hoping that our media team will go on board soon. We should get a few first words, the first reactions from Charlie Dalin. Certainly into relaxed mode now. He's got his team on board. But just looking at his design experience, so back in 2009 he was design coordinator of the Arabian 100 for Oman, which was a sister ship to Sydney, sister ship to Sodebo. He was yard design consultant for the build of the two Ericsson boats on the Ocean Race, or the Volvo as it was then. He did some training with the team in Lanzarote at that time. And in fact, not long after he was graduating, or as he was graduating, I think he did quite a lot of work in wing sails and various different speed craft. And he moved into the Mini.
Devoir, je ne vous doute pas, mais on est en train de se préparer du côté de Charlie Dalin, François Schotterer, Charlie Dalin, François Schotterer et Jeff Padé. Ses premiers mots du vainqueur, Charlie Dalin, vainqueur.
So we're just waiting for the first words of Charlie. Hopefully I can pick them up.
3h44, la voilà, 30 secondes.
Ouais, génial, ouais, vraiment heureux de cette victoire sur la Transverse. Est-ce que je vais y arriver sur la Transverse? C'est la Transverse New York, les Sables Vendée. Vendée les Sables, je sais plus dans quel ordre, bref. On l'a gagné.
Just saying he's very happy to win the New York Vendée.
Voilà, c'était une super traversée. Effectivement, ça fait du bien
The great crossing.
de gagner. Ça fait du bien,
To win.
Voilà, c'était la dernière. C'est la Vendée warm-up comme on l'appelait avant.
It's the Vendée warm-up, the last big
la
race
dernière
before the
répétition
Vendée.
avant le Vendée Globe, donc c'est une course importante.
Before the Vendée Globe.
On était présent à la concurrence. Et moi j'ai servi des enseignements de la Transat CIC pour progresser sur ma partie gestion de sommeil, gestion de course. Et voilà, j'ai retrouvé mon niveau et ça fait du bien. Ce bateau
So
est
he found
génial.
his level on the way across.
Ce bateau massif, il est dans toutes les conditions,
Très beau.
au près, au portant, au travers. Il est vraiment
And
génial.
they put a
Il est
good
génial à
test
vivre avec
across
sa zone de vie,
upwind, downwind.
arrière. Et ouais, c'était vraiment une super course. J'ai pris énormément de plaisir du début à la fin, même. Ouais.
It's
Et
really
raconte-nous comment
pleasing,
ça
really
s'est joué
happy.
cette course, parce que ça fait maintenant une semaine que tu es en tête. Et encore dans ces dernières 24 heures, c'était toi le
It's
plus
been a
rapide de la
week
semaine.
since he's been on top.
Ouais, bah, c'est vrai que ça s'est joué, je crois, 3 ou 4 jours après le départ. En fait, on a
We're just saying that
talouet
2 or 3 days
traversé,
after the
puis
start.
un front associé à une petite cente dépressionnaire.
We
Et,
saw they
et en
had
fait,
this front.
j'ai réussi à le passer. On était plusieurs à avoir réussi à le passer.
And
Et en
he
fait,
succeeded in getting out of it.
pas mal de concurrents se sont fait rattraper par ce système. Et moi j'étais un peu devant déjà à ce
And
moment-là.
most of the other competitors got trapped in it or behind it.
À pas me faire aspirer, pas me faire bloquer. Ça s'est joué vraiment à quelques milliers de mètres, vraiment peut-être moins, vraiment à pas grand chose du tout. Et il y a
Ton talent.
There's not
je
much they
sais
could do.
pas, en fait, et donc là, il y a Nico Lundgren là qui était juste à côté de moi et lui il s'est retrouvé
He
du
was
mauvais
just,
côté
he
du
was saying
système.
just, in fact, he was
Et
just
voilà,
beside
vraiment,
Nico
il était prêt à ce
Lundgren at
moment-là,
the
tout
time.
proche.
Nico
Et,
Lundgren was just to leeward to
quinzaine d'heures
remember
plus
he
tard,
brought the bow down
j'ai
and accelerated.
failli de nouveau me
Nico
faire
was left
aspirer par le
behind at the
système. En
time.
fait, le vent
And Charlie
a commencé
extended
à
out
tourner, donc
into
j'ai
the
tout de
lead.
suite tiré la barre, tout de suite accéléré pour reprendre de la vitesse,
Just
pour
put
essayer
the
de
bow
rester
down
du
and
bon côté
accelerated.
du système. Ça s'est joué à pas grand chose. Mais
Alors
got
une
through the
semaine en
system.
tête, avec quand même une marge très conséquente. Comment tu as géré l'intensité que tu mettais, l'engagement que tu mettais?
bah,
How did
j'ai
you live the
continué à
intensity
naviguer
of
de
the
manière,
race?
avec de l'intensité. Ça m'a permis de travailler un rythme un peu plus Vendée Globe, on va dire. Donc c'est parfait.
He said he was
voilà,
able to
un
live
rythme
in
tenant
more
sur
in
du
the
très long terme.
rhythm of the Vendée
Donc,
Globe.
voilà,
That's to
gérant bien
say,
mon sommeil,
just
gérant bien le changement de voile,
looking after
en
himself,
travaillant
looking
sur,
after his sleep and his
mais pas sur la préservation du bateau.
routines rather than
Ça, j'ai
the
attaqué-
high
J'ai
intensity
attaqué
speed of a
comme un sourd jusqu'au
normal
bout, là,
transat,
jusqu'à des
so
pointes
to
à
say.
30 nœuds à quelques heures de l'arrivée encore. Donc voilà, j'ai vraiment l'objectif c'était de ne pas lever le pied du début à la fin de la course, c'est ce que j'ai fait. Donc le bateau a jamais autant tapé. Voilà, a priori il n'y a pas de problème de structure, j'ai hâte qu'on fasse un check un peu plus profond, mais j'ai l'impression que le bateau est bien. Mais voilà, l'objectif de cette course c'était de naviguer pied au plancher.
Everything
c'est ce
about
que
the
j'ai
boat is
Il y a
good.
quand même le balcon qui a disparu.
fait. Ah oui, il y a un petit souci de balcon, mais bon, ça va, ça se répare. C'est pas de la
He's
structure.
lost his pulpit.
Bon, mais ça fait du bien à la tête parce qu'il y a 8 mois quand même. C'était un gros coup dur pour toi, pépin physique. T'as pas pu prendre part aux 2 transats. La transat précédente, tu es en tête.
So you've done 2
Et tu as des
transats
problèmes techniques.
before you were
Là,
fourth.
t'as coché toutes les cases.
Ouais, non, ça fait du bien, ouais, surtout après la fin d'année dernière, qui a été un peu tronquée pour nous.
After last
Ouais,
year,
je suis
this is a
vraiment
big,
heureux de
big drive, big
retrouver
success.
les chemins de la victoire, parce que c'est pour ça que je fais de la course, c'est pour gagner les courses. Donc voilà, je suis content
You have to be in the race to win the race.
à cette course. Et ouais, c'était important, c'est important effectivement pour la confiance, pour
It's important for them and for
me redonner aussi confiance dans mes capacités à gagner. Donc ça c'est chose faite.
giving him
Voilà,
confidence
je
in his
suis
ability
reboosté,
to win.
moralement à fond. Bon, j'ai pas beaucoup douté, mais c'est quand même bien de valider avec une victoire, ça c'est concret. Et, donc,
Et c'est quand
And
même un vrai
validates
caramel sur
various
les autres.
different
hein.
things for
ouais,
the
un
win.
petit caramel, ouais, effectivement. Mais voilà, c'est vrai que la situation a aidé. Mais après, je pense que mon bateau est aussi performant dans ces allures-là, de toutes les allures de toute façon. Voilà, Massif, c'est un bateau qui marche au près, au portant, au vent de travers, dans toutes les
Yeah, just
conditions.
saying that Massive is a
À
boat
chaque
that
fois que
does
j'étais à
well
côté d'un autre concurrent,
upwind and downwind.
avant qu'on soit
As I said
séparés,
earlier in the
j'étais souvent plus
broadcast,
rapide.
really an
Donc,
all-rounder.
Dernière
That's what we're
question,
looking for.
Charlie, comment ça va se passer cette nuit?
Alors comment ça se passait cette nuit? Donc,
How's it gonna celebrate?
on peut pas rentrer à cause de la marée basse dans le port des Sables. Du coup on va attendre en mer et on va remonter le chenal des Sables demain à 9h. Donc alors rendez-vous
looking forward to going to the channel tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
qui veulent demain matin sur les rives du chenal des Sables d'Olonne pour la remontée du bateau.
Et il fera beau,
the,
et ça sera avant la messe.
on the banks
Et
of
ça
the
sera
channel,
avant.
expecting everybody to be out.
Je suis content de l'apprendre.
Ouais, tu sais, en Vendée, c'est des choses
It's
qui sont
super happy.
importantes. Bon, rendez-vous demain matin. Bon retour, bonne nuit.
Ouais,
So
merci
join us
beaucoup.
tomorrow morning
À demain.
at 9 o'clock French
Et ben
time.
voilà, Charlie est heureux.
So
Moi,
that's
je continue à
it,
commenter
Charlie
parce qu'on
Dalin.
va retrouver Maxime, je crois, et Armel Tripon qui sont sur le bateau à côté en train de commenter pour le live. On reste avec toi. Qu'est-ce qui va se
about,
passer là, concrètement?
Joining the
Alors,
French commentators
donc
who
là,
are
l'équipe
on
est
the
montée à
water
bord,
and
donc c'est génial de les
Maxime
retrouver.
Company.
Voilà, de partager cette victoire avec eux
Who's
parce que
doing a live
voilà,
in
même
the,
si je suis
in
seul
the
sur le
base
bateau, ça
valley.
reste un sport d'équipe. Et voilà, donc c'est génial de partager cette victoire avec eux. Ils sont démenés et ils ont bossé à fond.
Just seeing how he's happy to share the victory.
Le bateau était nickel de chez nickel. J'ai pratiquement eu zéro problème technique. J'ai pu vraiment me concentrer sur ma stratégie, ma vitesse, mes placements. Et bah là, on va ranger un peu le bateau, se poser, réduire un petit peu la grand voile, voilà, se mettre à la cape pour passer la nuit tranquillement. Et puis voilà, mettre un peu d'ordre dans tout ça parce qu'il y a tout est matossé d'un côté du bateau, donc le bateau a tendance à pencher un peu tout seul là. Donc voilà, puis je pense que l'équipe va s'empêcher de pouvoir commencer à regarder un peu le bateau, le balcon, les trucs à droite à gauche. Donc...
T'as déjà rempli une job list assez conséquente?
Ouais.
You're just talking about the job list and some things that have to be done.
Il y a aussi des idées d'amélioration de performance pour cet été. Donc voilà, on va débriefer tout ça, se poser,
Talk about
analyser les
the,
chiffres. Et puis on
the
décidera
builders,
de quelles modifications
PDK.
ou non. Enfin, si de toute façon on va en apporter, c'est sûr. Donc quelles modifications on va apporter au bateau pour qu'il soit encore plus performant pour le Vendée Globe.
Eh ben merci beaucoup,
Talking about
Charlie.
learning the
Et encore
boat.
bravo.
Merci.
So that's it. Charlie Dallin's first words, paying tribute to his team and the boat builders and everyone who's been involved with the project. A big triumph for the whole team, and he was also saying how hard it was for him last year and coming back into the Transat, knowing what his objectives were then, were to make sure he qualified. And then he came back, as he said, in Brooklyn, looking to win, looking to push hard. And that's exactly what he achieved. So do join us tomorrow morning. We'll be live as the winner of the New York Vendée, the second edition, Charlie Dalin. Triumphant return into the channel here in Les Sables d'Olonne. So we'll see you in the morning. It promises to be a beautiful morning in this beautiful Vendée coast, and we'll see you then.